I don't think I'm alone in thinking that Dani Speegle is my favourite CrossFit athlete right now. I'm such a massive fangirl of hers. She is amazing in so many ways. But this is really important, and it goes beyond body goals or just wanting to be as strong as her. She is potentially changing CrossFit for the future female athletes in the sport, and maybe even outside of CrossFit. Women have suffered so many body trends over the years, with the recent resurgence of that 90s let's be as skinny as possible trend is really worrying. As someone that grew up in the 90s and the early 2000s, I struggled a lot with eating disorders and trying to obtain that super thin aesthetic. At one point I wanted my hip bones to stick out. I wanted to look so emaciated that my clothes didn't properly fit my body, like Effie from Skins, if anybody remembers that. It's so problematic, but it was praised as the healthy ideal for such a long time, even though it was ridiculously unhealthy. Even in CrossFit, it can be super easy to get sucked into that mindset of trying to be like super lean and have a low body fat percentage, like many of the CrossFit athletes, because that's what you see on TV. You assume that you need to look that way, with some coaches perpetuating the message that you need to lose weight in order to be able to do some of the CrossFit gymnastics movements, which is not true. And on top of that, a lot of people do come into the CrossFit space with the mindset of wanting to lose weight, and I was one of those people. After I lost the weight and got to a healthy weight, I actually started to go past that and got sicker again with my eating disorder, because I had also developed an obsession with wanting to look super thin, to be as lean as many of the CrossFit athletes. But then all of my lifts started to go down and I started to struggle with tiredness and fatigue. I started to get worse at CrossFit. So CrossFit managed to remind me again that I needed to eat and that I needed to recover, and that put me back on track to trying to eat more again. Athletes like Dani and Cara and Laura Hovarth and so many other girls with chunkier legs like mine made me realise that it was cool to be strong, and that I didn't need to chase this super lean, super thin aesthetic. I could just train to be strong and train for performance and train to feel good, and to be able to do that I needed to eat. It was so incredible to watch Dani win the two latest strength events, the log and the sandbag, and it's so clear to see from all of the Halloween costumes that many people want to be like Dani and they want to be as strong as her, or they admire her in so many different ways. I love the meme of Dani sitting next to Jacqueline Dahlstrom, and I have very similar photos from when I was a kid, when I was far bigger than the other girls around me when I was doing sports, and I felt so bad about myself because of that. But it was really cool seeing the difference in size between Dani and Jacqueline Dahlstrom, and all I thought when I saw those photos is how cool that was, that you can get that big and strong and be able to lift such heavy objects. In the log press event, Dani wore her Girls Who Eat t-shirt, and I really want one of those so badly. She's been using the hashtag Girls Who Eat for a very long time, and in a lot of the videos, especially the ones with the buttery bros, she talks a lot about how much she loves food.
I've had everything that we've ordered on the menu.
Oh.
Especially crumble cookies. And this is quite far away from the CrossFit recommendations of nutrition to stay away from sugar. But I think we all know, having seen Matt Fraser eat literal cinnamon buns and the amazing creations that Sammy makes, that carbs and sugar are not necessarily bad, and they are totally fine as part of a healthy, balanced diet. I love that Dani isn't afraid to talk about this. When asked about how she gets so strong, she literally says that she just eats enough and lifts heavy.
What could you possibly do that would allow you to grip a bag like that and hoist it up onto your shoulder?
Lift heavy and eat crumble cookie. Just eat a lot, man.
And that is the truth. That's also what I do. I've got to a point where I'm pretty strong too, and there is no special secret to it. It's literally eating enough and lifting weights. But the reason this is going to change CrossFit forever is seeing these messages that she's been getting through Instagram. The impact this is having on teenage girls and the way they might view themselves. I would be a great example. If we could go back 10 years to when I was really struggling with my eating disorder, just as I was leaving school and I started to drift out of sport because I was worried about being too big or too bulky. Imagine if at that point I'd seen Dani Speegle. When I was wanting to be as skinny as Effie from Skins or Kate Moss or any of the others, if I'd seen someone like Dani, saw how strong she could be, and heard that she's celebrating eating enough, I think that could have changed my direction completely, because I always wanted to feel strong, but I hadn't seen somebody trying to get big and strong before. I'm pretty strong now. I've got a 170 deadlift, I can clean 110 kilos, and all I keep thinking is imagine what I could have done had I not spent those 10 years trying to be the smallest possible. I can't wait to see some of these girls that haven't had to go through that have just grown up knowing that they need to eat to fuel their bodies. What Dani is doing for the women in the sport is so exciting, because she's doing so much more than just being an incredible athlete. She's a role model for the next generation of women. Imagine all of those girls who eat getting as strong as Dani, we could see the strength numbers in the sport start to massively go up just by popularising not restricting your food, because I guarantee most of the women in the field at the moment have gone through some sort of restrictive diet in order to get smaller and smaller at some point in their life. And I've done a lot of other videos on athletes that struggled with body image, and surprisingly it is a lot of them. If you'd like to hear more about that, I'm going to put 2 videos on the screen from Sarah Sigmund's daughter and Tia Toomey, and they both struggled with body image. Thank you for watching, guys. I will see you in the next one. Bye.